Can you hear me now? Okay. For anyone who is joining us online, I apologize. There is a little bit of technical difficulties with the audio, but please bear with us. I'm going to move on. I think we're good now. Moving on, before we go into our public comment period, I would like to invite Chief Cox to make any comments, if you'd like.
Appreciate it. So I'll be brief. Just wanted to say hello. Thank you. Okay. So I just wanted to say hello, introduce myself to folks I already know, introduce myself to folks that I do not know. So I'm Brendan Cox. I am back as the acting chief of police. So I was here from 1994 to 2017 in the Albany Police Department. I held a whole bunch of different positions, including chief, before I retired in 2017. I left to take a position with Law Enforcement Assisted Diversion, which is an initiative that we had here in the city. I was working on a national basis. I recently came back in December. I apologize for not making the December meeting. Matter Lori made sure that was on my schedule. I was doing it with a couple different calendars. I mistakenly missed that, so that was not Lori's mistake. That was my mistake, so I apologize for that. But I just wanted to thank you all for the work that you guys do. I believe in what you guys do. I believe in our partnership together, and I think it's really important that we ensure that the community understands that we need transparency and accountability. We need to work together as a partnership to ensure that people understand that the police department is accountable to the community. We're transparent in what we do. That the actions that we take place, that we take seriously when we investigate, and that you all have some oversight and ensure that the review that we do, the investigations we do are thorough, are accurate, and are timely. We want to make sure that we do that. So I look forward to being a partner with you. I think communication is really important. I know that our Office of Professional Standards ensures that they're communicating with you all whenever we have an incident and whenever there's some legal deficiencies. So I want to make sure we do that. I know there's some things that are in my court right now. I promise you that I'll be looking at those and I'm going to make sure that we get that back to you. Urgent right now is something that's on my desk. I owe you guys some responses for that. I'm going to get that to you. I just want to sit down with my staff, look at that, take a close look at it, and make sure that we can discuss that move forward. That's important. But again, I just want to make sure that we just make sure it's questions.
Thank you so much. Board members, any questions or comments for Chief Cox? I just want to say thank you for taking the time to come here tonight. Thank you for making the time to meet with some of our board members. I know I was not able to be there, but Dr. Hardin shared your goals and your commitments to oversight. Heard so many positive things about people that have interacted with you in your former tenure as chief. Very excited to work with you. No apologies needed for missing our last meeting, but we thank you for being here tonight. And the same for Tamika Mori and Detective Lieutenant Liddy. It's very good to have you, and look forward to continue working with you and furthering our goal for transparency and accountability. All right, try that again. Moving on. We're moving into our public comment period. Anyone here with us in the chamber or online, if you would like to speak, online you can raise your hand, and we'll have 3 minutes per person if there are any comments at this time.
don't see anyone in the chamber. Brian, is there anyone online? No? Okay, so no public comment at this time. We're going to move into the next item on our agenda, the case review, case updates, and consideration of complaint closure. We have none tonight. I will save more for the report from the chair, but I do want to say that at this time, due to where we are in the transition from our partnership with the law school to moving into the city, the board is currently suspending our complaint review until further notice, until we do have a program director hired. I'll talk more about our transition in my report from the chair. At this time, we're going to move into our report section of the meeting and start with our CPRB Standing Committee reports. I'll turn it over to Tony for bylaws and rules. Do you have a report?
At this time, there's no formal report. There is just, I just want to recognize the fact that there were 4 issues that have been reviewed during these last couple of weeks. They've been reviewed with the consultant and before Shel Villa from the Albany Law School was released from working with us. There are 4 things that we have proposed to be changed in the bylaws, but until we get a program director and some additional staff to maybe do some final reviews, it will be proposed at that time.
Thank you, Tony. Moving on, Batman's not here for community outreach, so I will move forward. John, do you have a report from the investigation committee?
Yes, thank you. So the CPRB Investigation Committee continues to work with common council and city staff to ensure complete thorough transition to the CPRB from the law school to the city structure. We are working to ensure that the new iteration of the CPRB is created and administered in such a way that we gain sustainability and solvency of the city entity and private autonomy we are afforded from the authority. As of now, we are still involved in the hiring process for our program manager and established. We will be working with city employees as investigators. Without a permanent staff to effectively coordinate the process of the case reviews and act as a practical liaison between the community, the city, and the police department. Case reviews cannot be delivered in a consistent and professional manner. The CPRB is committed to performing our job and executing the function to the highest standards and to the greatest expectations of the people. As such, the CPRB is suspending cases process and reporting. We take the responsibility of providing reviews, reports, and case management seriously. We cannot sustainably allocate the performing need for in its entirety without a full police department. To make it clear, we are still processing complaints, still taking complaints. Our monitors are still working on the complaint reviews, but we will not be presenting cases to the public. The expertise from administrative care cannot guarantee for the consistency of testing access to our standards. Again, we are performing our duties right now as a matter of course that we will consider infrastructure to ensure that the standards and expectations of the citizen. To note the relevance to recent as a note. With regards to the recent events, we are CPR investigation. The CPRB investigates all police and dog shootings. The CPRB investigation into the police dog shooting, which occurred on January 5th, has begun. The city contract investigators, TNM, has been assigned to this task. The investigation process has begun in earnest, and the board, the investigators, IPD, also professional standards, are communicating to ensure an efficient and objective and transparent investigation into the incident. The board has been engaging in this action since we were first made aware of the event on Sunday. The investigation committee was afforded the opportunity by the Albany Police Department to review valuable camera footage and actual camera footage. This being said, we will not comment on elements of this case until the evidence has been collected, evaluated, and presented through a complete and comprehensive review. It is the Albany CPRD's policy to investigate all police shootings, and we continue to advocate for we continue to advocate for full cooperation from the department. Also on the agenda tonight, we'll see a request for subpoenas as policy as part of standards. The use of the subpoena request for materials is part of our protocols and we do that for full investigations. That is all.
Thank you, John. Moving on to mediation, Dr. Hardin, do you have a report?
No formal report for this month, Chair Rivas. I would like to reserve that report to touch base with the board to vet the people that we have identified for mediation to make sure that the board is in full agreement before we pass those organizations on to OPS as they requested to meet and greet with mediation. So we'll have a full report, I would hope, for in February. And I'd say the same thing for the police liaison committee, if we could reserve that report for next month.
Thank you, Dr. Hardin. Moving on to the Public Official Liaison Committee, my committee. I do not have a report. We have not met after our last meeting, but the general tenor of those meetings have been centered around the transition, which I'll move into my report from the chair. I want to just say we're moving into 2025 and in 2024. I want to just thank the board for all your hard work. There's been a lot that has gone into this transition and a lot has fallen on us. I want to thank the law school. It was a great relationship and look forward to finding a way to continue to work together and moving on. And thank you to the Common Council and the staff for your support through the transition. Our ultimate goal is to make sure that we are ensuring an effective oversight for our community, and that remains paramount. With that said, the transition period that we are experiencing, John talked a little bit about how that is affecting our investigative work and complaints. We are currently in the hiring process for a program director, and when that process concludes, we have someone in that role, we can begin to fill other staff positions that we have earmarked in our budget presentation to continue with the work that we have. We have office space that has been set up for us that we need to finalize, look at, and officially move in. With that being said, for the time being, we will be, as we explained before, holding off on complaint review to make sure that that is done in an effective, professional manner. Additionally, with the board members that you see here today, we have lost another board member, Milton Arroyo. He was our newest board member and resigned. This has been covered on the news, and a part of that that coverage included discussions about background checks and making sure that board members are vetted. We have spoken with members of the Common Council to make sure that going forward the background check policy is improved, and we are continuing to work on that issue. Mr. Arroyo is no longer a board member, and we will be filling his seat. The Common Council will be filling his seat when they are ready to do so. I also want to just make sure, like John said, critical incidents continue to happen. Although we have suspended case review and complaint review for a while. We do remain attentive to critical incidents that are happening and continue to have our contract investigative staff work on those issues. So there's a lot of things that are in flux with the board, but we want to make sure that this transition culminates with a board that continues to uphold the values of professionalism, transparency, accountability, all those things that our community comes out and speaks about every day, and we will continue to do so. So we'll keep you all updated. At our regularly held board meetings, we will continue to meet as scheduled. It will just be a little different for a short period of time. Moving on, I will invite the Office of Professional Standards, Detective Lieutenant Riddy. Do you have a report?
Oh yeah, the show's on. Am I just talking low? Sure thing. For those of you that have met me, nice to see you again. For those that have not, I'll introduce myself. My name is John Riddy, Detective Lieutenant with the Albany Police Office of Professional Standards. As far as a report from the Office of Professional Standards, we still continue to work diligently on the outstanding complaints the office has right now. We're making an effort to get caught up. I'm sorry, in an effort of that, it's going to bombard you as a CPRB, but we are making every effort to get caught up so that way there is some closure in all these complaints that have been lodged with the department. We are actively investigating the officer-involved shooting incident that happened this week. All of my detectives are currently actively investigating that and making sure that we have a good, thorough investigation in relation to that from all avenues. On an additional note, outside of any complaints or anything like that, the police department is going to be ramping up its efforts for hiring and recruitment. So we're looking forward to partnering with our community partners to hopefully bring in top quality candidates into our rank and file in the police department. So we're excited to partner with our community. Aside from that, that is all the business that we're attending to right now. If any of you have any questions you'd like to address.
Thank you. Board members, any questions for Detective Lieutenant Riddy? Thank you so much. Moving into the next item, approval of meeting minutes. I'm moving to approve the minutes from our regular meeting on December 12th, 2024. Do I have a second? Thank you, Tony. All in favor, aye. Raise your hand. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, so moved. Moving on to new business, we have board officer elections this evening. At our December 12th board meeting, we had nominations for myself as board chair, Antoinette Santos as the vice chair, and for John Lewandowski as secretary. So tonight we will, I guess, vote. There's no opposition, but we can vote for each. All in favor for chair, Nairobi Vivas, aye. Aye. All in favor for Antoinette Santos as board vice chair, aye. All in favor for John Lewandowski as board secretary, aye. Aye. All right. And next, moving on, I guess if anybody wants to say anything, I do not, but I'll open it up if anybody else wants to say anything. Moving right along. Adoption of the fiscal year 2025 budget. Moving to adopt the budget. Do we have a second? Dr. Harden, thank you. All in favor, aye, or raise your hand. Any opposed, abstentions? Hearing none, so moved. Next item is the approval of the CPRB report for the third and fourth quarters of 2024. I'm moving to approve both reports. Do I have a second? Thank you, Tony. All in favor, aye, or raise your hand. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, so moved. And the amended item under new business, the consideration of subpoenas. I'll turn it over to John and Julie to discuss that.
Thank you very much, Chairwoman. Yeah, I'm going to have Julie Schwartz from our contract investigator, TNM, to explain the subpoenas. Like I said in my report, the subpoenas are since our last shooting investigation, it's part of the protocols now that we have a subpoena out to ensure we get all materials and it's clear what the materials we want, and this way everyone knows where we stand and the expectation. Julie, I'm going to hand it over to you just so you can explain the individual subpoenas that we'll be going on. We can see you. Yeah, good.
So, as John said, just as a matter of fact, I'm asking for a subpoena for APD for the January 5th, 2025 shooting, officer-involved shooting. I don't want it to be that they're not cooperating. We're going to meet with them on Tuesday, and if the board has, that's just a pro forma thing we're doing. And we're also going to go to the Housing Authority, and if they need a subpoena for their video footage, then I'm asking for that now, so we don't need to come back on that. On AD 2022-02, which is the one we went to court, that wasn't the officer-involved shooting, but we broke off another case involving street encounters. We went to court on that, and the officers complied, and well, 3 of the 4, we're still working on the 4th one. They came in and we interviewed them at the Law Center right before we lost that space, which was very kind of them, on December 18th. We now are following up with requests for training materials. I sent a request to APD, and if they need a subpoena, we can provide that for them. So I'm asking for that to be signed now. And we're also trying to work with DCJS Zone 5. And again, if they want a subpoena, so I'm asking for a subpoena for that. So it's really 4 subpoenas, 2 on the January 5th and 2 on AD 2022. Does anyone have any questions on either of those matters?
Any questions for Julie? John, do you have a motion?
Can I make a motion for 4 subpoenas? First subpoena, should we do them in one order? For case materials for the January 5th shooting. Do I have a second?
Moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye, or raise your hand. Aye.
I would like a second subpoena with regards to the same incident for housing footage. Do I have a second?
All in favor? Aye, or raise your hand. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, so moved.
All right. And again, the subpoenas that we're putting out, it's not saying that we're not getting information. It's just this is our pro forma for shootings. The next 2 are in regards to shooting AD 22-2, and that is training materials. Do I have from APD? Can I get a second for a subpoena for training materials?
All in favor? Aye, or raise your hand. Any opposed? Abstentions? Hearing none, so moved.
And then the final one, again, this is related to the incident AD 22-2, a subpoena for DCJS Zone 5 training center materials.
Second. All in favor? Aye, or raise your hand. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, so moved. Thank you, John. Thank you, Julie.
Thank you.
Moving on to board member comments, before we adjourn, is there anything that board members would like to speak on? No? All right. With that, moving to adjourn tonight's meeting. Do I have a second?
Second?
All in favor? Aye. Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.